Summit that gets underway today.
Write to us at Morning Live SABC. That'll be the Twitter handle that you can find us on, and the hashtag Morning Live. So we look forward to reading your tweets and hearing from you this morning. Okay, let's look at the big stories of the day today. And obviously the Jobs Summit, I imagine, is going to be the big one that everyone's looking at. But the other stories, Police Minister Becky Tele and the National Commissioner General Kefa Sithole are expected back in Westbury today amid threats of further protest action by community members in the area. Also hearing about a total shutdown of most coloured areas in South Africa. Do you know more about this?
Absolutely. In fact, I have a message that was sent to me in this regard. All the areas were told, the various colour townships across the country, people have called on leadership in those townships to go and have meetings so that there could be a coordinated effort to shut down all those townships at once.
Okay, that's very, very big. All right, so keep this on top of your radar. Hey, President expected to open the two-day Job Summit in Midrand, as we say. That's the big one. He promised this in his State of the Nation address, and really saying he wants tangible results out of this. Not just a talk shop, but they need to walk away with something that is going to give us some results.
Absolutely imperative. And then also in Cape Town, members of the Unite Behind movement, they are to embark on a large-scale protest at the city's central station, and they're demanding, amongst other things, improved security on trains.
And Prison Civil Rights Union, that's Pop Crew, taking the Department of Correctional Services to court over questionable safety standards of the department's headquarters building in the Pretoria CBD.
Very interesting one, that. And remember, the thing about news is that we tend to be very headline driven, because a couple of weeks ago we were talking about the fire downtown, the loss of lives, 3 firefighters lost their lives. There was much talk about the safety of people working in certain buildings that are just not compliant. But we've since just moved away from that, moved on to other things. But I think it's important that we just retrace our steps and find out what is actually happening there.
Yeah, I mean, when these calls come out, do something straight away. And that's the reality. So, all right, Twitter, here we go. Quite an interesting day on Twitter, and I must say I was sort of quite far from a television yesterday, so I was relying very much so on news feeds coming through and on Twitter, and that was with the testimony of our Finance Minister Nhlanhla Nene at the Commission into State Capture. And what an interesting day, and lots being said there.
It was very interestingly, and you will know something that we always talk about. Yesterday we heard from Nhlanhla Nene how he did, in fact, as far back as 2009, come into contact with the Gupta brothers, spoke about how he first met them at after the State of the Nation address, I think it was in 2009, where they were seated at the main table with President Zuma, etc. And then, of course, many people were, at pains to remind us that Nhlanhla Nene had previously said that, he hadn't really had any contact with the Gupta brothers. So, and then the EFF, unfortunately, Dali Mpofu, he was supposed to come in, not coming anymore. But they've released a statement late yesterday also describing Minister Nene's testimony as dishonest and shocking. Those were the words they used.
Okay, so, all right. There's a lot more where this comes from. There really is. And then, of course, we've got our former Finance Minister, Pravin Gordhan, taken to this particular seat next week. So that's going to be another one we're looking out for. The sad news coming out last night, Andrew Mlangeni in a critical but stable condition in hospital. And Andrew Mlangeni, one of the Rivonia trialists, a wonderful man, a man that just wherever you go, he has a sense of humor second to none. And we just, at this point, wish him peace, we wish him no pain, and we wish his family a lot of strength as they come together. And I suppose, that's all we can pray for right now.
Well said. Nothing to add.
Nothing to add. And we keep him on the top of our prayers. That's Andrew Mlangeni in hospital at the moment. And the man of the moment, Messi.
Wednesday nights are soccer nights.
It is. And I mean, if we had to sort of tell you all of the trending topics, it has everything to do with soccer this morning. But I think Messi stealing the limelight against Spurs last night, and people just saying, this man is just unstoppable. So, stop it.
It's Messi.
He's the man of the moment. We look. He's amazing. He's incredible. You can't stop the guy. 5 goals in 2 matches. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, all right. I'll leave it there. Let's stop the conversation. And we'll go to traffic. Maybe Rob will be happy with me. Messi, can you believe it? Do you like Messi, by the way, Rob?
Good morning. No, I'm a Tottenham Hotspurs fan. That's my EPL team. So
okay,
let's leave it there.
Yeah, let's talk about the traffic.
Let's move on to important things like traffic, all right? Good morning, South Africa. Let's look what's going on. First up, the Western Cape. We had a big crash yesterday. In fact, we had a couple of crashes on the M1, just out on the section around Durrance and around Toes River, which caused disruption. We've got another one this morning. This is a crash scene. It happened last night, but it's closed the road between Worcester and Rawsonville. So if you are venturing through that part of the Western Cape, just outside Cape Town, you can expect to be delayed and diverted. Motorists are being redirected onto the R101, that local alternative route. That's a very horrific, fatal crash scene out there in the Western Cape this morning. Now, let's get you an update from the N3. There was a bit of talk yesterday about possibilities of sleet and maybe some light snowfall overnight and into this morning. At this stage, if you're moving between Joburg and Durban, the weather conditions are clear and traffic is flowing normally. So maybe you just think, yeah, I've got to get down that way this morning. What's it like? There you are. It could change. We'll keep an eye on it. But at this stage, there's no sort of overnight blockages, no adverse weather overnight on that N3. And this is really important. Just have a look at this. This is the Metro Rail service through Cape Town, and this is the Central Line, and this is the line that basically services the enormous commuting area of Khayelitsha. Due to the shortage of rolling stock, Central Line Metro Rail running 1 train every hour. Think about that. All those employees that need to come out of Khayelitsha and surrounding areas and get to work, the train's not really an option. 1 train every hour and about 90 minutes travel time on that single train that operates as well. It's not a good situation in Cape Town with the trains. All right, that's the latest with the Morning Live traffic.